Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's another fun-filled day. That's the only way I can look at it. It's truly entertaining on all levels. Let's see what we got going on here this morning. You can see up on the screen, you can see, there's a fact check spreadsheet. Go right to the Swiss, right there. You see 6 weeks in a buy, 2 days in a buy. And you can see this thing's trying to turn up a little bit here. So that's, it's a little different. That's a daily, right? Yeah, that's Swiss. Let's look at Swiss over here. Okay, that's what it is. 1 day in the buy. I guess it's going on a second day in the buy here on our work. But notice that the weekly has rolled over. Looks like for sure we're going to go into a sell there. We're banging along the top end of the range that we think we've identified for the last year and a half. And you can see here, so just widen that a little bit. Yeah, you can see this thing is trying to get up there, right there, on the J4X. So that means basically that the dollar is weakening against the Swiss. That's what it's trying to do. We think that the Swiss is a better indicator when it comes to looking at the dollar versus, like a generic pair. And the idea of just a when you look at it at the dollar, you have to compare it to another currency. Be it the euro, British pound, Aussie. You choose it. The kroner, South African rand, ruble, whatever. In the end result, you have to put another pair to it. We think that the Swiss kind of really does identify the actions more than most of the others. We used to follow it, start off the webinar with the euro, and we've noticed that the euro has kind of gone a little bit more independent to the overall flavor of what all the other currency pairs are doing. So this is the best way we think to start off the webinar the last 6 months or 8 months now, I think it is, where we're looking at that. We're looking at the Swiss against the dollar. And let's see, let me get rid of that. Dismiss. There we are. And from there, what we try to do is we slide over to the euro. Check out the euro. That's our second peak of a pairs trade. You can see this thing is just kind of really flatlining. It is trying to play with its weekly. We've been impressed with that because we thought this is what the cable was going to look like where it was coming up, and it's not. And you can see the daily is pressing down still. So over on the on line 14 there, right there, we're 12 weeks in a sell. Could flip this week, and we're 2 days in a sell, going on a third day as we speak right now. So that's the action we're really seeing here. And again, we went down to the, I guess what it is the 0.23 basically. Got close to the 0.23. We Fibonacci'd the range of this one. We've looked at the Fibonacci from the top end of the range down to what we think is the bottom end of the range. So it's basically 121.77 basically down to 108.28, which is a pretty wide range there. But it seems to carom off of it when you look back historically, over the last year and a half. You can see there's where it's playing with the top end of the range, and it rolls back down again, so forth. And so you can see that it has, the validity of it. So the euro, and there's a lot of euro and cable countries, the European Union and the Exchequer out of London, the ECB and the Exchequer, both of them are starting to tighten. We are seeing the Chinese government starting to loosen a little bit. They're trying to get out of their problems in a capitalist way, but they have too many socialist laws that don't really help them that much. But they are trying. Let's put it that way. That's a good thing. Here you see the opposite side of the coin. Most of the industrialized nations that have floating currencies are starting to raise rates, whereas we talked about it yesterday. China doesn't have a floating currency, so it's not really like an industrialized nation on that level. That's why we always think of it here as like a colony of some form. I mean, we're their biggest customer. We buy lots of stuff from them. We don't have any angst whatsoever on the socialists in our country. Have no problem at all using slave labor. So It's very easy to do there. So yeah, they're tight. Everybody's raising rates and slowly inching up rates. Matter of fact, we have a bond auction today at something like, I want to say it's like 20 something GMT, and we'll see how that. Everybody's watching that. It's a 7-year or 10-year bond auction. I think it is. I think it's a 10-year. Let me see. I heard. Matter of fact, I heard one money manager this morning who has a great credentials. Long time, decades. I've heard him speak and talk, and he said, what is he looking for? He's saying that he thinks he's going to see, it's trading at a 1.3, basically 1.40 interest rate at one moment. It's yielding 1.40, and he thinks it's going to run up to 1.75, which is a pretty big move in this world. So, and by the end of the year, and I'm not talking about 2023. I'm talking about 2022. So he thinks in the next 10 days. We're going to see, a big move in the bond market. I can't wait to see that. That could be pretty entertaining. But that's where we are with the with that product at the moment. I'm trying to look up now what was that. Let me see. Not there. I'm looking to see where the bond auction is. We'll have to hunt it down. But yeah, there's a bond auction. I'm sure it's on the. We could find it on Dukascopy's economic calendar. I'm sure it's on there. Let's take a quick peek. And a sip of the tea. Today is Tuesday. The bond auction is. It's listed as high too. Oh no, that's durable goods. They do durable goods today. No, that's Thursday. No, forget that. Why is this calendar so small? Let's just go today. They don't even have the bond auction in there. Okay, that's odd. Dukascopy usually has everything. Bank of Japan coming out with something. Very interesting. So is retail sales coming out of Canada today. That's odd. Okay. Anyway, we're having a bond auction. It should be pretty entertaining. Oh, the lid of my teacup. There we go. All right. So you can see here, that's the euro, kind of stale and going sideways down on a weekly, trying to turn up. Now let's jump over to the cable, which I thought that's what the cable was going to look like this week. Instead, they raised rates last week, and it's obviously put a little charge on the downside. There's a couple days there in sell now, a second day, and you can see the weekly has turned down. It was moving up like that, and all of a sudden it's giving us a turn. I thought it was going to be exactly what the euro is doing. And then let's see it on J4X. Right. There it is. Oh, that's euro. I'm sorry, that's euro. You see that? You see that turning down and with a green hinky at the same time. I wanted to put cable in. Let me put cable in. And there's the cable. Yeah, doing the same dive like that. It's doing the same dive like that. Exactly. All right. Not much more to be said about any of them. I guess if nothing else, what we're going to be starting to do is we're going to all be on like a bond, not a bond watch, a tightening watch. Like I said, minus China right now. Everybody else is tightening. China loosened. I can tell you what they loosened. China, over the last 24 hours, has, let's see, what did they do? People's Bank of China sliced the benchmark 1 year from 3.85 this morning, its first such rate cut since the unpleasant days. I guess, over the, they've been having some problems, of course. A 50% basis point decrease to reserve requirements for local banks. So in other words, letting banks loan more. Effect last Wednesday, and infused another 200 billion, which is very impressive, into that system. Now, what's really curious is that they could put 200 billion into the banking system, but they couldn't help uh, Evergrande or Evergrande, the real estate, the number one real estate, with a $17 million payment, which was really odd. I guess that's because the money's being kept inside China when they put 200 billion into it, whereas Evergrande, the money had to go outside the country because it was owed to foreigners. When it comes down to paying foreigners, they're not real happy about that idea. Another sip of the tea here. Now, looking at the, let's see what it says. It says, while relatively modest scope, those efforts to ease financial creditors contrast to the authorities' prior stance, as Beijing struggles to get a debt under control without unleashing financial mayhem. They're in deep trouble. They really are. That's the only way I can say it or see it. It says here, most notably, that there were, I got to move that over. That's what it is. I'm not seeing the whole story. There it is. Wow, I missed a lot there. All right. So far, it seems marginal, which is only means that like I said, this is from Social Generale, the French bank. They're talking about what's going on in China. And they say it's a relatively modest scope. Those efforts to finance conditions stand as marked as a contrast to the authorities' prior stance in Beijing struggles to get debt-soaked property bubble under control. That's what I was talking about. They can't even find 17 million to send out to the foreign investors, or 20 million, that type of thing, without unleashing financial mayhem. So when they lend money to the local banks, since they're like a socialist structure, more than likely it's the way the Federal Reserve in the United States does it, which means that they basically control that money to begin with. So all they're really doing is changing the label on it, but they're not removing it from their control. That's probably what it is. That's why they can move 200 billion to do that. It says here that distress in industries, the long-awaited default behemoth China Evergrande Group, Asia's largest issuer of high-yield bonds, a reality. Trouble spreads far and wide. Matter of fact, they say today's shares of Evergrande investment firm suffered another 35% plunge. They were trading at 21 cents last time I saw them last week. The plunge following a failed-to-go private attempt. Shares in Cass Group Holdings, industry's third largest issuer of dollar-denominated. See, that's the whole thing. The debt, but only 27th largest of the property sales tumbled 14%, first trading in a day since the company fell into default. End result, traders, is that it's not apples and oranges. When you look at the European Union and the euro, or the dollar in the United States, or the British pound in England, or even the South African rand in South Africa, or the Turkish lira in Turkey, they're a floating currency, and so it's permeable. It goes in and out of the country, back and forth. But in China, it's not. The currency is not floating. It's controlled by the government. They fix it every day, and they say, okay, this is what the value is. And so then when the companies in China borrow money from outside, be it, Hong Kong, not Hong Kong, Singapore currency, or Australian or American dollar, or anything, they borrow money and they sell them a slice of their business in China, it's not the same. So in other words, when they defaulted, it's obvious these defaults, it doesn't have any real effect on the companies in China itself, because they don't allow them to go through the same process. Like, the foreign investors come in, they take control of the property, and then they start to sell it, or they start to take the payments for it directly instead of the corporation. China doesn't allow that. So it's like a colony in its own right. It's in some type of quasi-independent state at the same time. It's a very strange creature. It kind of sounds Soviet in many ways. But in the end result is that it's a very odd story, and I don't think we've seen the I see a lot of it and understand it, but I don't think we really see the real structure of it because the media hides it. So in other words, they're not out there beating up on Evergrande every day and the Chinese government. They're doing the opposite. Matter of fact, our media loves the Chinese government, and they're not willing to. Obviously, investors now are not putting money back into Evergrande, and it's trading at 15 cents a share now. But in the end result is that we're not really seeing the whole story, and I don't think we're going to see the whole story because there's a love for this economic system. They love it. And it's not very profitable. It's not very inventive. It's very odd. But anyway, there we go. Hey, Middle Age, how you doing? Morning, Doc. Silver is having a decent day. I know. Went into a daily buy, and then you see gold. They pushed poor gold again. Maybe the weekly quant will get going. All right, let's see. Let's go take a look. Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. It's like, can't we have a metals rally? We have inflation. Isn't that really the recipe? You have inflation, then you have a metals rally. That's usually the way it works. Usually it's metals first, inflation second. In other words, the metals take off, and then you find out you have inflation. So right there, there's silver. Yeah, you can see there, second day on the buy. It's holding up pretty well there. The weekly is trying to lift. You can see the curve there. Yeah, you can see that curve. Can you see that curve? Oh no, okay, I see it. The system's a little behind at the moment. I see that. I'm waiting to see mine shift. And let's do this too. Let's put the XAU on there. Or in this case here, the XAG. There we go. So yeah, you can see there. Just double check the screen. Yeah, there you go. So you can see all that. You can see that action, and it's nice to see the weekly lifting up at least. Trying to get it going, but it's not anywhere near where we want it to be. Now, whereas gold, like right there, gold is. Oh, now this morning it was flirting with the sell. Now it's gotten rid of that. That's cool. And it was down below it this morning, and now it's trying to. It is trying to lift back up. That's why I have a little green line right here. You see that little green line right there. Oh, we don't. I see what's going on. We don't have it on the screen. There it is. That's better. And so let me go back to silver real quick. Yeah, there's the silver. You can see it's trying. It's looking very. It's trying to lift. It's trying to do its thing. They're trying to get it to go. And you would think, we all would think that, when you have inflation, why are we not? Now, what in the blazes is that? Why aren't we seeing, metals rally? Obviously, they don't want them to rally. The central bank is, Federal Reserve is holding them down. So yeah, that's that. I would like to see that. Hey, at least the gold has started to flirt for you in the right direction. That's a good thing, And you could, like I said, when it got up, like what was it? It got up to 11. I was like, sell some top calls up there. Do something. Don't let it slip away. Turn it into a binary. There we go. Another sip of my tea. All right, so that is the metal. Let's go back to. Did that do it for you? We'll wait for Middle Age to say something. We're going to slide back to where were we? We're at cable. Yeah. So cable, I think we finished off with cable. So I think what we do is we go to the Turkish lira from there. I don't know what I didn't look at it. Sometimes I'll look at it real quick to see before the webinar, but not all the time. There it is there. Whoa! What happened there? Look at that giant gap down. Oh, I wonder what that's all about. Is that doing that the same? Let's check out the J4X. and see what they're doing with it over there. Let's just make sure that's functionally right. Yeah, it's the 21st. It's doing the same thing. So I guess President Aragon found some way to do something. It's a heck of a drop. Let's just check it out on the euro combination. Do something. He did something. Hooray for him. I guess that story of oh, I see. Look what happened. So they started selling that thing down yesterday. On the at the end of the day, they slammed it. You know, I didn't even see any news on that. That's kind of interesting. Let's see if there's any news whatsoever. Let's see if we can find something. No, see, Supreme Court takes Biden's administration to respond to flurry of challenge to OSHA. Let's see, Biden plans to distribute now. Brace for 2022 credit impulse. No. From bad to worse, another French nuclear reactor cuts output due to strike. No. No. I don't see anything on the Turkish lira. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Let's see. If NATO rebuffs, no. Stunning COVID, no. I wonder if, let's go to, let me go to, where's it at? Let's go to Dukascopy's calendar or news. See if they have anything at all on this situation. Let's see, news. I don't see anything. I mean, so obviously they did something last night, and I didn't see it. I was out, I know, but didn't look. Well, hooray for them. Look at that. They brought it down from, it got up to, what is it, 21 almost, 20.73. It was going after that poor 24. Maybe what they'll do is let's move that over a little bit like so. Maybe what they're going to do now is, maybe what they're going to do is they're going to cruise around here, use this as a support in the 15s, and then maybe what'll happen is, you know, it'll zigzag like this, you know, through it over the next, I don't know, you know, couple months, 2 or 3 months, bounce between, say, 15 and 21. Maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe that's how it's going to play out. That, it wouldn't surprise me any. That would make sense. We've seen this story before, where when the Turkish lira does get into that situation, where they start to, you know, support it. You know, that's the only way I can figure it at this point. At least that's what makes sense to me. If anybody knows the story, yell it out on the chat line. I think I'm going to Google it too, just to see, because it'll be in some news somewhere. Yeah, let me just check it out. It will be in news somewhere, and they will, you know, be talking about what they did. I'm sure that there's probably like an official, I don't know, with the way things have been going in Turkey or not, I'm sure if there's an official news site anymore. Things have been getting weirder and weirder there. Let's see. Not there. Not there. Okay. I'm sure it's going to pop out somewhere. Let's see. I'm just checking all kinds of things. Now I'm going to the Wall Street Journal. See if we can find something about that. It would be nice to know what happened there. Let's see. Okay, let's see what that says. Turkish. Let's move that over. Turkish lira. News. There we are. Okay. Turkish lira extends gain to more than 15% on rescue plan. That's what it is. Okay. Let's see what the rescue plan is. Basically, this is on Bloomberg. President Erdogan announced extraordinary tools to support the currency. I wonder what they are. Let's see if we can find what the extraordinary tools are. Maybe they're going to start selling something, buying something, I don't know. Let's see. Let's try it there. Lira hit a high of, 11, early in trading Tuesday, a 20% against the greenback, but later pared it back. Let's see, what do we have here? The lira has still fallen more than 40% against the dollar year to date. In a speech Monday evening, Erdogan outlined steps to guarantee saving the lira. Has charged. I wonder what it is. We're gonna have to go through that. We'll have a better idea. But anyway, sounds like he's going to get something done, which is nice. I mean, that article in the beginning of the week or the end of last week. That was really sad. I mean, they called it poverty and this, that, and the other thing. He's got to do something. People keep on shooting at him. It's getting weird. All right. From there, we're going to jump over to the Canadian. See what's going on in the Canadian. There we go. Yeah, imagine you're going over to go get a cup of coffee and someone wants to shoot you. It's like, yo, what'd I do wrong? I'm elected by the people. There's Canadian playing with the top end of its range. Alright. Get rid of that. There we are. Alright, so that's the situation there. Now, Canadian is still just inching its way up to the top end of the range again. And the weekly is not letting go. You can see that there. Over on J4X, same situation, holding up firm, doing the same type of curvy bounce like there. And, the dash line is becoming a good support there for the moment. Due to the fact that we're this high up, we have to wonder how long this will last and see if it tries to roll over again for as many months as it has, being the resistance area, right there. See, that was back in October of 2020. It had broken, it had run up, jumped across what we thought was the support, and then rolled over again. So, and then it goes and plays the bottom end of the support a bunch of times. There. Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, twice it played that support over the last year and a half, basically, or year and a quarter. So, we'll see what they do with the Canadian, but at this point in time, it looks like the Canadian is making its move up into the top end of the range and going to hold up there for a little bit. We'll see. You can see the weekly on our work is trying to curve. We'll see if our math starts to roll, and then you'll see J4X join in with it, and that's the way it'll play out in the end. All right. From there, what do we do from there? We go to, let's see. Now what we do is we normally take a look at the metals complex. So let's go do that. We look at oil and metals. There's there's oil. As it fills in, I'll take a sip of tea. And let's see over here, right there, let's find the oil contract there. You see it's, now what is wrong with that? I went into a sell yesterday. How did that pop up like that? Just double check that. Because you can see it here too, and I've seen that. Let me just double check that number. Something's weird. We keep on getting some really strange data and we have to clean it up all the time. I hate that. Let me just double check. Yeah, yesterday, that's not the way oil traded. It did sell down. I think it's the day before. that's screwing it up. Let me just go double check real quick. Trading, exchange. I go right to the exchange and get the exchange data. I don't know why these providers seem to have odd numbers in them. I know when we sent it out this morning. Let me just show you what we sent out to everybody this morning. Right there. Yeah. See, that's what we sent out this morning. And so 2 days back, Friday, there was pressure on it. Right there. And then yesterday there was pressure on it, Monday. And now, you know, that's how it looked this morning, about 2 hours ago. Now let's go back to what is allegedly functioning right. And that's one of the problems right there. Let's just go put that up. Yeah, so that was going down, down. Not sure why this is filling in like that. We'll have to fix that before the end of the day. But let me just go look at the exchange numbers itself, just to alleviate my frustration. February contract. Yeah. So yeah. See what they're doing is they're showing this as a gain. Basically, this right here. And that's the problem. Is it's not a gain, but you know, up higher. When in fact the settlement is not. They're showing a settlement of 70.72 on Friday, and I have from the exchange. The exchange is showing a settlement of 69 or is it 68? 68.61. So it's a $3 difference. That's what's screwing this whole thing up right there. We'll fix that after the webinar at this point. Matter of fact, let's go take a look at the back month. See what that's doing. See if they've done the same strange thing to that. Now, see, that's still down in the sell, and it didn't do that, so that's fine. All right, we'll fix that February contract and get that straightened out. Now, looking at the metals complex, you know, or well, we could yeah, let's do that. We did look at silver. We saw the silver action, you know, and silver is acting very well there. And at the same time, you know, we see the Canadian moving up, which is kind of odd. And the same thing with gold. You know, gold is trying to move up. Surprised that we're not seeing a down move over here in the Canadian. You know, it's kind of a little surprising. Maybe it's going to hit this resistance area and then start to roll. Over in the, let's see, where do we go from here? So oh, okay, yeah. So now what we do is, because of the way gold and silver are moving, we would assume the South African Rand is having a better day at it again. In other words, moving down. So I think yesterday was popping back up again. Let's see what they're doing today. Yeah, see, it's moving back down. And by the end of the day, they sold it down yesterday. So the South African Rand is showing something positive, you know, a little life, a little hope for long metals traders. Let's see, where's that at? Let's go into right there. There's the South African Rand on J4X. You got a lot of red there, see? The Hinkies have been red for a bunch of days, just like we're a bunch of red right there. White line is burying itself down at the bottom end of the range, that's for sure. So we should be seeing, you know, some type of, I don't know, I think we're going to still see some type of strength in the metals complex. I have hope. And this is not technical analysis. Well, the good thing is that gold is in a weekly buy still and flirting in its daily sell. Silver, on the other hand, is in a daily buy for a day, going on a second day now, and still flirting underneath the weekly sell. So it's not exactly like we have a magic word we used to use all the time when we thought something was really important. We used to call it conviction. We don't see the conviction in this sector. That's the problem. No conviction. All right. There's ruble. Ruble's been that little daily buy, a lot of green, kind of cruising along. Same thing here, and well, half and half on the J4X, but you can see it's in the buy. Pushing along just like this is doing. They're both doing that. Same thing here, both doing that. The weekly is dipping. That's kind of cool. Doc's always a big Ruble fan, thinking that economy is going to lift this stuff out of the way one day. Once we lose the socialists controlling our government, things will be better for the Russian Federation. Socialists really in America hate Russia in a weird way. They really have this animosity because, like Mr. Obama and Mrs. Clinton tried to overthrow Mr. Putin, just like they did Gaddafi. They succeeded at Gaddafi, but they didn't succeed on Mr. Putin. So they have I guess it's like they want to be the world socialists in the end. That's why they love China. They do all kinds of things to help China all the time. They really, the socialists are really taking it hard on the chin here in the United States right now. Mr. Biden, his team and group are failing in every direction. They're going to get thrown out of government for a long time. We've never seen a president this low in the polls in less than a year in office. It's very strange. From ruble, we'll go to the yen. See what they're doing with the yen. There's the yen. There's the yen right there. Yen's kind of become chill over these last couple of weeks. After that slide, it just kind of became quiet. You can see here the weekly is trying to get into the buy, but it hasn't gotten there yet. It flirts with it. The super tries to do it and is doing a decent job at it. And then you can see the daily here is above. As you can see there, the plot 1 is 0.03 and plot 4 is 0.06. So, and you got a green dot and this thing's trying to turn up, and you can see here on J4X we are flirting with a green hinky, and the white line is trying to make the curve. A couple hours, if everything stays here, the thing will be moving back up. Alright, now let's slide over to the Mexican peso. Not that mouse. Let's try this mouse. Right there. There we go. As you can see here, it's curving slowly down. A little red going on there. Right here, same situation. Red. It's already curved down. Okay, so it's what is this daily? Yeah. Okay, so this has been down for a while. Same thing, same pressures. This is trying to get into the buy again here. The big question is this one right there. Are we going to see that weekly do the little bounce like that, try to turn back up? Anything's possible. Things are very strange here economically, and it's at the end of the year. The senator from West Virginia has basically joined in with the Republicans, so Mr. Biden, who thinks and acts like as if he has this massive majority, basically only has like a couple votes. I mean, basically the Congress or Parliament or whatever you want to call it for you outside of the United States has never seen such a tight situation. So why Mr. Biden has chosen to act like as if he has all this power is very odd. Matter of fact, they're saying now that he probably going to finish out the year as the first president that hasn't gotten a major policy change. As we take a sip of our tea. Anything's possible with Biden. I saw a really strange interview a couple of days ago where this on one of these black networks, where it's like BT something or another, a black interviewer, a host, and they kind of focus in on the black community in America. They had Kamala Harris, the vice president, on, and they said, who's really running our country, because we don't believe Mr. Biden's in charge. And she went nuts on him. And he just came right back at her and said, we see him say this, and then within hours the White House changes the message. He says that, and hours later the White House changes the message. So who's in charge? Because every time he says one thing, the White House, press release comes out saying the opposite. So obviously he's not in charge. She was, you know how she looks like she's stoned half the time and she laughs at like a lot of questions? She was angry. Oh my goodness. It was weird. But you can't really make economic decisions with the way these characters are. The best thing you can do is just go with the flow, stay with the Fed, Do not think you can jump out, because, they're doing a lot of strange things. Just like I said, how many times in an existence of lifetime that inflation starts and the metals complex sells off? Never. And bonds, they were asking. Remember, I was saying I was watching a couple of money managers this morning that I've seen for decades, and the one money manager said, we're trading at 1.38 or something like that. I rounded it out to you for 140 to make it sound a little bit easier. And he said, then the announcer asked, when are we going to see these bonds make a move? We got all this inflation. And he said, no, I don't know, I don't understand it. Maybe at the end of the year, or maybe going to next year, they should start to make a move. And then, no one wants to blame the Fed. No one wants to say, oh, well, the Fed's plowing $110 billion a month into the market. No one ever says that live on TV besides me and a few other people on a few different networks. So it's like, why can't you just say what's really going on? The Fed is holding the interest rates low. That's it. Nothing magical. Yeah, it's not, it's not hard to figure out. So then the next money manager on the same show, there are two of them sitting next to each other basically, and he says, yeah, that's been our conundrum too. We don't understand it either. It's like, how can you not understand it? The Fed is putting in, they're putting $120 billion into the market every month, new money, not old money rolling stuff. New money created. So not only do they do the rolling, imagine, okay, here's a simple explanation. You're the Federal Reserve. You have bonds that are maturing. Okay, so let's say you have $10 billion worth of bonds that are maturing. They're going to expire. All right, you get your $10 billion back as the Federal Reserve. And now you go buy $10 billion worth of new bonds. Okay, not counting the fact that they're plowing like $110 or $120 billion of new money created. So that's what the rollovers are. Rollovers are maturing bonds and money. So, if they have $40 billion worth of bonds maturing, they get the $40 billion back in their pocket. And then they can go buy $40 billion worth of bonds. And that's it. And it has nothing to do with the 110 or 120 billion that they keep on printing every month. That's money on top of that. Now, why can't these money managers be honest with the viewers and just say it in plain English? Instead of going, wow, we're really confused just like everybody else. How can you be confused? It's like as if $160 billion means nothing anymore. Okay, my brokerage won't allow me to use the advanced option strategies that you tell me about. Writing, call, etc. I can do strangles and straddles. You know what? You probably have to buy a cheap put to go underneath to do the binary. Wait a minute. Your brokerage won't. Well, why can't you write calls against calls? They can do that. Let's see. Advanced option strategies that you tell me about. Writing calls. I can do strangles and straddles. What about spreads? So in other words, you buy a call, you're long a call, and then you sell a call against it. It's the same thing. There's no difference between buying strangles or straddles. Oh, wait a minute. They don't let you sell, but you can't sell calls at all? So in other words, your long calls, you can't sell a call against it. That doesn't make any sense. So you're only allowed to buy options and sell them from the long side, but you cannot sell a call against a long call, which is a buy rate, basically. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Are they confused, thinking that you want to buy the spot and sell the call, or buy gold and sell the call? I mean, what part? I can understand them trying to be high on the margin on that, but I don't understand why you can't turn it into a binary. That is really odd. Maybe you need to, are you doing it like through emails, or maybe you need to find somebody in that brokerage house that understands options. Usually they have, out of a brokerage house, sometimes one person understands options. That's about it. Because, you know, I mean, it's not costing them any money for you to sell a call against a long call. Odd. All right. I guess we finished up all the currencies now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the metals complex more. We'll look at copper and platinum and so forth. And we're going to drift over to the energies like natural gas and the heating oil and the crude oil again. We'll take a look at those. Let's see, where are we at? So that mouse going there. So there we go. Yeah, you gotta, because I mean you're only talking about, you know, if you're long like the 1775 calls or something like that in gold, I don't see why you can't sell like Dukascopy allows you to do a binary and sell the top of it, like the 18 and a quarters or something like that. As long as you're doing it 1-to-1, there's no increased risk. It's the opposite. You would think they would want you to preserve capital, not lose capital. All right, so there's gold. Let's take a look at copper this morning. I think it's joining in with the silver, which is nice. No, that's not it. Right there. There's the copper. It's showing a little life to it. It's been in a sell from here. Nothing major going on. This is trapped between the $4 and $4.60 range. This thing does not let go of that for like the last 9 months. It's just, you know, just keeps on playing with it. Sometimes bouncing down and bouncing back up and so forth. So that's where we are at the moment in this product. The weekly is still buried underneath it, as you can see right there. Yeah, you need to find another broker because that's insane. That is totally insane. Okay, let's see, so there's the copper. Let's take a look at platinum. We keep on expecting to see some type of divergence of their past performance that would give us an idea that something's happening in the positive. But you can see here, platinum is like silver. It's in a sell for a bunch of weeks. It has been in a daily buy from the $900 area, but notice it's not going anywhere. So, you see, it really went into the buy. Where did it go into buy? I guess it's right there. So right here, really, 933-ish area, 931, 928.9. That's what it is. And it's just basically cruising along in a weekly sell. So it's awful hard to want to be long that in any real way. So there's the metal complex. It's just not responding, you know, to the inflation factor, which is, again, very odd. All right, let's check out the energy sector. We're going to go to nat gas, then we'll take a look at the crude and so forth again. There is, that's the back month. You can see, you know, it's hanging in the sell very softly, I guess you could say. Just hanging in there. The weekly is trying to turn up. So this is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And then that's crude, and then let's take a look at the nat gas. Nat gas, I want to say it flirted with a daily buy yesterday. Right there we are. Yeah, went into a daily buy yesterday. And it's, you know, it's also cruising on the sell side. You know, it cannot get its game together at all. Just on the edge. And I guess we're getting ready to go into January, and so then that only leaves us with like 2 months of real cold weather. So we're really starting to move into that situation where, it's not that important anymore to worry about oil at the moment. At the moment, let's say. At the moment. Last but not least, we will jump over to right there. This is the oil that they use to heat the homes. It's very firm, but same thing on the weekly. No real buying going on. Off its highs. Just, we're coming into the later part. I mean, we're going to be, all this stuff is figured out. Inventory might be building up because we have been relatively warm on the coast. Now, inland, where Robin's at, he's in Chicago, basically it's much colder out there. It's been, it's away from the oceans. The oceans are getting warmed by the melting. And so what happens is that instigates, I know this is a strange one, I'm going to just say this and then I'll stop talking about it because you're going to go, okay, this is crazy. Melting ice on the planet generates a ice age. Yes. Because it's called steady state in physics. So in other words, you take a brick out of take a room, has a table in the middle, has no windows and only one door. It's a very tight room. You take a brick out of an oven at like 500 degrees, and then you take a brick out of a freezer that's say 31 degrees or 30 degrees. You put the two of them next to each other. One's 500 degrees hot, the other one is 31 degrees cold. Now obviously, for them to meet in the middle is going to be whatever, the two meet at some temperature. You have to assume, depending on the size of the room, that they could meet at 100 degrees. And then what happens is that's called steady state. So now you do the reverse. Take a look at the Earth. The Earth has, like the coldest point in the Earth is something like 140 or 150 degrees minus down in the points, like south, was it the Antarctica and things like that. And then you take a look at the equator. At the equator, might be 100 degrees or 105 degrees. So that's like 65 degrees differential or 45 degrees differential on the cold side, not the hot side. So in other words, the planet is going to cool when they both meet. They're going to be much lower temperature. And where the there's like the religion environmentalist thing going on, where they think we're going into some type of, what do they call it, global warming, I think they call it that. It's not going to global warming. We're going into an ice age. And it's been that way, we've been talking about it since the 1970s. Yeah, 1970s I've been talking about this. Ever since limits to growth and whole bit, Alright, so from the energies, we're done. Okay, we've done the metals. Let's jump over to the stock indices and see what they're up to. They're rallying this morning. You can see there's the NASDAQ 100 turning into a plus. We have a little green line going on there now, like that. Our weekly is still down. We'll see how well they do here. You can see this, that's the A, this is the B, this is the C. They made a new low. But, they're not even taking out the lows of November. It's not exactly like the worst sell-off in the world. I wish the media would stop acting like it's, enormously vicious or something. Here's the S&P 500, right there. Let's put it up on J4X too. And there's the Tech 100. That's what we just showed you, the NQs, where it's rallying back up again. There you go. It'll turn soon on J4X. Remember, our math is always ahead of everybody. At least as the known everybody, as far as I'm concerned. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500, which we call the global index, solely because almost 50% of the companies in it, literally 50% of the companies, are foreign corporations. Same situation. You can see it's lifting here. We're getting up through here, lifting up, starting to show some life. Chicago J4X will start to turn over the next couple of hours. It will start to turn, and you know, you can see here that's where we're at. But our weekly, that also same situation, not not doing anything particular. It's just kind of sideways down at the moment still, in a weekly sell. We didn't even take out, whereas NQs or the Tech 100 on Dukascopy, it took out this low here in that time frame. Here the S&P did not. It went down and failed. So it's a higher low. And no more than like a week ago, it made a higher high. So this thing's trying to tell us it wants to go on the upside. It's trying to slope up, not down. Then we take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Oh, beans and corn. Okay, let's do that. Because we're going to be getting out of here soon. Let's do this. Open that. Right there. There's beans and corn. And let's see. There we go there. So there's Jan feeders. Let's go beans. There's March corn holding up on the edge right there. Let me show you what May corn looks like. There is May corn. Playing around with the daily sell a little bit here today, but both are in the weekly buys. You can see here it's minus 20 at the moment on the daily. And then what was the other one? Beans, right? Yeah, let's see what beanies are doing. Beans been acting firm. I'm impressed with that actually. There is the front month, Jan, lifting up firmly today, trying to take out a couple days ago high. A little curve there. Let's show it to you on J4X. There's beans. Where are you, beans? Right there. There's soybeans on J4X. So you can see that that's trying to move up. I think May's the back month is doing the same thing as the May corn. I saw that earlier. I think it was flirting with the sell side of it. There's a May beans. No, it's not. It's holding up strong too. So we're seeing strength. You can see it here on J4X moving up. Our weekly is holding up, but it has time, and this is the back month. May is hitting the time manifold. Let's see what it's doing on the front month. Nah, it's just right at the time manifold. Not as bad. So, hope that did it for you. We're going to get out of here. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. All right, traders, catch you tomorrow on Happy to Hump Day. And that's like a Thursday, the way it's acting now, because world markets closed down on Thursday. So there is no Friday, I guess. I don't know. If there's a webinar Friday, I'll do it. But I'd be glad to do it. I have no problem there. Ta-ta for now.